Hi, this is question 32 on section 1 of TSA 2016. So here we have water being poured into 5 containers at a constant rate until each one is full. And we have some graphs of the depth of water against the time, and we want to know which of these containers is not represented by any of these graphs. So the depth of the water is going to depend on the width of the container. So if the container is narrower, then the water is going to rise faster. For a graph like this one, where the water rises at a steady rate, then the width of the container isn't going to change, so it's going to have straight edges, which means that this graph must correspond to container C. Okay, I guess this one might be the easiest to look at next. So at first it rises constantly, so the bottom of this container must have straight sides. Then after this point, it's still rising at a constant rate, but now at a faster rate. So the top of this container must have straight sides also, but also be narrower than the bottom because it's rising at a faster rate. Therefore, this one would seem to correspond with container E. Okay, so now if we look at this one, so again, initially the water is rising at a constant rate. So the bottom of this container has sides which are of constant width, so there's straight sides on the bottom, and then after it gets to this point, so initially it gets faster, so the container must have become narrower, but then the rate of increase slows down again. So after the container becomes narrower, then it starts getting wider again. So it seems that this graph would correspond to A. Now for this final graph, so we've got B and D left, and D at the bottom has straight edges. The width isn't changing, so the water will be rising at a constant rate initially if we're pouring it into D. But for H, this graph is not straight at the beginning. So this is indicating that the water isn't rising at a constant rate initially. Therefore, this graph can't correspond to D. So D is the container that is not represented by any of the graphs, and that's our answer.